Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we'll be talking about the spell Legend Lore. All right, what is this?
The most expensive Encyclopedia Britannica you've ever seen. This is a outrageously expensive Wikipedia search.
Expensive in what way?
Gold.
In gold.
It costs you
Okay.
250 gold to cast
Good
each
golly.
die. Yep.
This is like the early days of internet cafes.
Mm-hmm. This more is like what does Wikipedia Premium look like to billionaires? Is what Legend Lore is.
Okay, well, what does it do?
Okay, this is a 5th level spell. This is not a ritual spell. Both are bummers. It's got a 10-minute cast time, range of self. Sure. It takes a visual, verbal, somatic, and material component. And again, that material component is incense worth at least 250 gold, which the spell consumes, and some 50 gold ivory strips that the spell doesn't consume. You name or describe a person, place, or thing. The spell brings to your mind a brief summary of the significant lore about the thing you named. It might consist of like tales, stories, secret lore, lots of different stuff. If the named thing isn't of legendary importance, you know nothing. The more information you have on, or you already know about the thing, the more precise, detailed information you get. So if you already are like, I kind of know who that lich is, I want to know more about the lich, you will get more than you would if you'd never heard of the lich before. The other part about the spell, the next line of text, the information you learn is accurate, but maybe figurative. So if you have a mysterious magic axe, the spell might yield woe to the evildoer whose hand touches the axe, for even the haft slices the hand of the evil ones. God, I can't read. And then it's got more fluff about, you need to say the Rud Dog spell and stuff like that. And that's the whole bit of it. The base of it is you ask about a thing, you learn about a thing, and it costs you 250 gold a pop.
Now, wait, did you say that if it's not of legendary importance, you don't get any information?
Correct.
So you can't like ask, yeah, what was that guy's name we met the other night, and that sort of thing. Oh, because all right, see, I was mistaken about that. I thought this was, like something to punish lazy players with, or asking the DM questions about stuff that happened earlier, but they didn't want to take notes.
I mean, it still kind of is that, but only to the things that are apparently like super important.
Oh, because I kind of like that as a DM tool, but no, I'm not telling you crap unless you cough up some incense.
Mm-hmm.
You should learn to take notes.
So you look at it more as a players be more attentive. I look at it more as this is information I definitely was supposed to tell you, but didn't do it in a good way. So here's a way you can get that information again after you've already left the dungeon. Is what I look at this as, right? Like I left a bunch of clues and hints that were really abstract and vague that you didn't investigate because you didn't think they were interesting about the weapon that you got, and now you can ask about it specifically. In both of those cases, this spell doesn't do a great job at doing that. Again, we talk about this a lot as should this really be a spell? I'm of the opinion this is something that you should seek out a person in the world to ask about. This is where you go talk to a historian, you go to a library, you find information about this kind of thing. It's its own little mini downtime activity, and there's rules in the game that help with that. Like there's a whole background dedicated to finding information you don't know anything about. So like this spell for a 5th level slot and 250 gold for what could be done with an hour in a library, I don't know. That doesn't seem particularly engaging. I also am bummed out that it, like, what constitutes as legendary table to table is going to vary pretty wildly, and I think that's kind of a bummer. So there's like specific tiers of, if we're using this to identify items, the identify spell does exist already, and that already will give you command words and stuff. So that you're wondering, okay, well, why am I spending 4 more levels for an identify spell? And the answer is like, identified maybe doesn't like work on artifacts or legendary equipment, but that's, I don't believe Identify says that either. Let me just pull up Identify real quick because I don't want to talk out my ass like I always do anyway. Listen, we're doing our best out here. You learn all the properties, how to use the item to identify it. So like, it doesn't specify the rarity or anything. This will only ever work on, I mean, hypothetically, this will only ever work on legendary or artifacts. And even legendary objects are not necessarily legendary, as in like they are artifacts of legends, but instead artifacts that are simply above the rare tier. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what constitutes legendary information outside of, like, bards wrote historical tales about this thing. And that makes me a little bit annoyed because I feel like there's going to be tables that are trying to figure out information about somebody, and there's going to be this weird, awkward hiccup where everyone's like, well, is that person legendary? Are like, did the things that they do constitute people? What does this mean for everyone? And it's just going to be a little bit awkward, I think.
Yeah, what is the ideal situation you see a player using this?
The DM dropped a bunch of hints that weren't picked up about the location of a very important next adventuring spot, and the players have picked up a name, and this gives them the location that they need to be going to. This continues progressing the game forward.
All right, well, how would you there's other spells that do similar things. The ones that I always don't like, the where you get to ask the DM questions.
This is similar to those.
I forget what they are now. Commune, is that it?
Commune with nature,
Right.
contact other plane.
Aside from costs, or no, cost is probably a good thing to compare too. But how is this different from those?
So
Except,
legend lore specifically can only ever give you information about legendary things, and it will always give you accurate information, although sometimes cryptic information. Deities, nature, I mean, commune with nature is very different because it tells you very specific things. If you're just asking, hey God, what's going on over there, you can receive any information. It'll vary a lot. I think that one's going to vary even heavier based off the DM than Legend Lore is regular commune. And then you have things like, I think divination is another one that does a similar thing. Let me double check. It's just divining information. Yeah, it asks you simple questions that you get yes or no's to. So they're all information gathering tools. I actually think Legend Lore is the least spell-like of them, but the one that is least offensive at what it does, because it's like very clearly a tool to gain important information that is plot relevant or is relevant to things the players already have, whereas divination and a lot of the other commune stuff ends up just being like, are there enemies ahead? Do we need is that pitfall trap in front of us a pitfall trap? Should we be avoiding? It just ends up being a series of annoying questions that the DM has to be like, oh my god, shut up, I just want you to go play the game. So that's the core differences, I would just say. I honestly just think Legend Lore should be like a magical tome of legends that you can find any information you're looking for by asking it. That seems more aligned with what the thing does than a spell, but
right. And I like what you said earlier about instead of using this, you should be going to the library or tracking down people and asking questions. That's D&D.
yeah, that's like the whole part of the role playing. Like,
Right.
The first word is going out into the world and exploring things and as characters involving other characters. And Legend Lore is just kind of like, I'm just going to ask the DM instead, and he can give me the Wikipedia cliff notes. And that's not, I don't know, that seems worse to me.
Yeah, even as I'm rethinking what I said earlier about using a DM punitive measure for players or crutch for having failed to give the information you wanted. Just, both of you need to sit down and talk it out, get better at your respective roles.
And listen, it is hard, and I think that it's fine to have ways to remedy it. I think those ways don't need to be 5th level spells that cost 250 gold.
Yeah. All right. Well, are we done? We got a rating?
We're doing the astute viewers at home. You'll know that like we do these in batches, and we have not talked very favorably about most spells this evening.
Yeah, it's been a
I've
bunch
been
of
giving
duck.
it a lot of 2s and 1s tonight, and I'm like, I don't know what do I call this? I think this is a 2. I think the niche properties but identify exists. I just remembered that identify exists. Never mind, this is a 1. I was like, this is something you use when you should know how magic item works, but doesn't. Identify. It's a 1st level spell that costs 10 gold to use. What am I doing?
Yeah. I don't know. I'll give it a 2 because I don't fully understand it. Listeners at home, Write in the comments. What am I missing here? Is there more to this spell than meets the eye, or at least my eyes?
I don't think there is, but please
Yeah.
enlighten us.
All right. So yeah, cautious too. That was Legend Lore. Thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for listening and watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it, a gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description where you'll find my Caverns and Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.